Alrighty then, well, back into it. Before we start on that, Ben asked me how this canopy's been doing, and it's been doing well, except for one problem, and that is, due to the design of it, it tends to collect water up in these little pockets here. It's not a pocket, it's just a kind of ends up as one. So I've drained the water off of it periodically when it rains, and see there it's got some's already kind of self-drained, so but it's okay, it's keeping the water off, so for the most part. So let's look at what's going on in here. What I'm doing in here is I'm cleaning and getting ready to repaint this dash frame. I've got a lot of things to put back together inside and on the dash, so it's essential that if I'm going to paint this and spruce it up, I'm going to do it beforehand, of course. So that's what I'm doing. Now, is this the right way to do this? No, it's not. Normally, to do a thorough job of this, you take the dash frame out, but that entails taking the windshield out and the windshield seal out, and they're still both original and in very good condition, and they don't leak, and I'm not taking them out. So that's that. So this is doable in here. I've decided I'm not going to try to paint the top part back behind where the dash pad sits or under the windshield. It's not too bad a condition, but it's a little faded, but I'm not going to worry about that because, you know, it's kind of one of those situations that this is not a restoration anyway right now. This is just mainly to get this back spruced up and drivable. So you kind of have to, you know, you kind of have to choose a stopping point as far as where all you're going to go with this, and I'm not going to go into all that right now. So, and you know, I think a lot of guys, that's what screws a lot of guys up on projects, is because they start on things like this and then they don't know where to stop at, even if they don't currently have the time and the money and possibly the expertise to do things. They feel like, well, they've got to just, if you're going to do it, go all the way, take everything apart, and then it comes down to you work 50 hours a week and mommy's screaming at you to come in and help with the kids, and why are you out there, and this da 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 da. So at the end of the day, you don't have it done and you don't get it done. I've known people personally more than once that's had that happen. They don't have a realistic sense of what you can do. If I had a garage out here that had a lift and plenty of air tools and plenty of time and work for myself and whatever, then, you know, I'd do that, but I don't. I have to be realistic. So no comments about, well, that's not the way you do that. Well, that's the way it's going to be done for now. And anyway, this dash frame is in decent shape, but it's already been cut over there. Have to pardon me, my allergies are acting up again because of the weather. But that dash frame has already been cut right there for radio, so depending on what I decide to do with it, it probably will need to be repaired at the very least. So that's one thing. And overall, though, this interior in this car is not bad at all. It's got a good headliner in it. Let me back out a little bit. It's got a good headliner in it. That's a one-piece headliner, cardboard headliner, and you don't want to know how much those are to replace those, if you have to replace it. And the door panels are pretty decent. So the seats and everything are kind of hash. Of course, this one is. But Ben was also asking me about the interior of this car. If they came with bucket seats. No, that was optional. Bucket seats were optional in the coupes like this, the 2 doors. But normally, you started out with a bench seat, and of course you got the console. And they do sell, Legendary Auto Interior sells the kit for this interior, and it is really expensive. So that's going to have to be done. It's money that will have to be spent. And I noticed this car has had carpet put in it once at least, because this is the wrong kind of carpet for it. This is this cut pile stuff, which you guys that do Volkswagens run into this a lot too. There's the correct carpet and there's the incorrect. This is just one of these basic cheapo J.C. Whitney type aftermarket carpet kits. And like I said, this is cut pile. This car would have had 80/20 loop in it originally, and that's what I get again, of course. But so somebody did put carpet in it originally, or again, I mean. But it did originally come with this console. It's coated on the fender tag for that, and I guess it actually came. This is unusual that it has this steering wheel in it, because most of the time they came with a smaller steering wheel, since this car has power steering in it. It doesn't have a. It's, you know, Dodge and Chrysler and Plymouth were just kind of a little spider there. Hello, spider. It's just kind of, you know, you could get whatever you wanted on a car. This one, you know, it had an outside hood release, but it's got a fader speaker control. You can't see that, but it's mounted on the dash under there. So it had that, it had a console, and it had this standard steering wheel with power steering, and it did not come with a light group, so it does not have lights on the fender tops and places like that. So it's just unusual. It's okay then. I'm going to get going with this, and I'm going to lay down a couple coats of paint on this, and then probably run out and run a couple errands and have some lunch and let that dry, and then, oops, voice cracked there. I've got to get into my storage unit, because that's where I have all my parts at, and I need to be looking for some parts in there that I need. I need these wiper arms. I think that one may be usable, but it's got its own set of problems. But what I had to end up doing on this wiper pivot was I had to make the best I could with it. I had to end up using the old one and had to straighten it out, and it's not perfectly straight. But the problem is I had a replacement, but the replacement was worse off than this one. It was stripped. All the splines were kind of stripped from part of it, so that was a no-go. Couldn't do that. So I've got a lot of stuff to put on this car or any car. I've got a set of dual chrome mirrors for it, the dual mirrors instead of that standard one. I've got a set of fender tops if I ever want to do that, but I don't know. I'm kind of a purist, so I don't really know what I will do with it yet, as far as that goes. But I'm going to go ahead and get the interior put together as far as I can, as far as the dash goes, and get that all squared away, and then I've got to turn my attention to some more mechanical issues. I've got a rear end to go in it, and I've got to buy a couple leaf springs for it, and some linkage for the transmission, and then take it and get exhaust put on it. So I've got a little list I need, punch list like Musty One does. I need to get written down, so I can do that. But the fuel system's all back together, the brakes are back together, so that's done. So as he says, getting closer. I'm a little bit further along though than I'm sorry, I should say I'm a little bit further behind though than he is. Like 3 years further behind, but you know, it's how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. I guess thanks for watching. We will see you in another video. Have a good one.